everyone. How are you today? I'm Brooke, Intuitive Focus, and this is my friend
Kris Svendsen.
Kris Svendsen.
Svendsen,
yeah. I made that name last time.
That's all right. It's not spelt the way it's pronounced.
I had Dagmar on the Soul Focus show. She said after mentioning your last name, she says, "I'm not even going to tell you what my last name is."
Klingenbock or something like that.
Yeah, not going there. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
How is everyone today? G'day Sharon. G'day Amanda. G'day Deb. G'day Amanda again. G'day Sharon and g'day Deb. There's a lot of Debs and Sharons and Amandas in the show. So how you guys going? Kris, do you want to tell these lovely people what you do?
Okay. This is my second appearance here. Last time I spoke generally about astrology because I'm an astrologer. I also do tarot card readings, Lenormand card readings. They're my three main things, but mainly I'm an astrologer. But my specialty probably is a thing called horary astrology. That's spelled H-O-R-A-R-Y. It comes from the French meaning of the hour. And it's a type of astrology that is a question and answer type astrology. So it's almost like the purest form of divination in astrology, where you can ask a specific question for a predicted outcome and draw up a chart for that. That's basically what I do as a specialty. And I often do these either in person at home. I can do them as Zoom readings. I can do them as as an emailed report written up, an answer, and I also do them. I'm a regular feature at the Crystal Wave Shop in Grange here in South Australia on a Sunday, most Sundays. And when I'm not there on a Sunday, it's because I'm doing a fair, a psychic fair, and where I both do card readings there, but I also offer horary as an option there. So it's a question and answer type of astrology. The basis of it is that the basic philosophy is that just like with your birth chart is something based, a map drawn up for when you were born, the time of day you were born, the place, and the date, and that draws a map of the heavens where the planets were. And most people may have seen what we call a birth chart. Usually in the Western society, it's a round figure. In Hindu or Vedic society, it's often a square-shaped figure, much the same. And that's a map where the planets were at that time, with all their basic meanings, essential meanings, in combination with each other, modifying their behavior and describing the person that was born at that time, and describing them in a way that almost describes what we might call their fate. It might say, potentially what sort of career they're most likely to be suited for. Are they likely to do well in the marriage stakes or in the relationship stakes, or the cards you've been dealt, basically. As fatalistic as it sounds and as a bit deterministic as it sounds, it's not necessarily, you don't have to have any particular spiritual philosophy to be an astrologer. It can be a rather technical subject, but my personal belief is that you chose your time of birth and your place and went before you even came here with that map of restrictions or advantages. It was a card that appears to be dealt to you, but I think you dealt it yourself so that you would face the challenges in that chart this time around. So a natal chart is a potential chart for your whole lifetime, and to do a natal chart reading can take some hours just to get through the basics. It can be like writing a book on someone if you were to write it up. Horary astrology is just one branch of a number of branches in astrology. And I'm mainly talking about horary tonight, and pointing out that horary astrology is a chart drawn for a particular moment in time and place, just like a natal chart. The only difference is that it's not to be read like the whole life. It's to be read in light of a specific question that was asked at that time, and thereby every moment of time has a future that flows from it. So your birth chart has you flow from your birth moment. On top of that, even even if we're not looking at a natal chart and we're looking at a question, there's a future from that question. And so the chart can give indications of what the outcome or what the future outcome of that question will be. We got a question already popped up from Diana. Will we look at that now? My granddaughter and I have the same birth chart starting at 19 degrees Scorpio and following through all the same degrees for the houses. She's Cancer, Aries. I'm Aquarius, Leo. Have you seen that before? No, not somebody with exact. I mean, it's not impossible, but no, I don't know whether I've got cases of people with the. I think, yes, you both could have 19 degrees Scorpio rising if that's what you meant as the starting of the chart. And so, yes, you would, the difference, you'd be born at different times of day probably. If she's a Cancerian by sun sign and she's got a Scorpio rising, she'd probably be born probably around early afternoon. If Aries is her rising sign. If you're an Aquarian sun sign and you've got Leo rising, you're probably born around sunset, a bit later in the afternoon. Now that might not be right. I'm just saying that off the top of my head based on what I'm reading here that says Cancer/Aries and you being Aquarius Leo. But you both could have, sorry, we're not talking that way because we're saying you've both got 19 degrees rising. Sorry, she would be born in the early afternoon with that. You would probably be born around midnight, early in the morning, to have an Aquarius rising, unless you have Leo, right? I can't tell what you mean with you from just what you've got there. You might need to elaborate and say that you're sun sign Aquarian, Leo ascendant, or whether you're Aquarius rising, Leo sun sign. Then I'll be able to tell you, even though all I'm talking about isn't particularly meaningful. If you've both got Scorpio rising, that's quite possible at that degree. Every 4 minutes of clock time equals 1 degree of the Earth on its rotation in 24 hours. So every 4 minutes of clock time, a degree of a sign of the zodiac rises on the eastern horizon. And so if your birth time was 4 minutes later, then there'd be 20 degrees of Scorpio. 8 minutes later, 21 degrees of Scorpio. That's what that is. But it's based on your latitude, longitude, your date, and your place. It's quite individual. So hopefully that made some sense what I said, Diana. I'm not sure what you quite written there. Subsequently, if we did a chart at the moment and you asked a specific question, like, will I get that job, for instance, and 19 degrees of Scorpio was rising and you asked it, that would be pretty good. That would be pretty, connecting to your own rising degree. That doesn't often happen, but that'd be telling me, oh, this chart is very fit to be read because the person asking it has the same degree ascending as what's actually ascending right now when we ask the question. Carolyn Thomas, what if you don't have a time of birth? Oh, well, horary astrology, I was going to get to that, doesn't depend on a time of birth. It's a chart drawn for a question. So you might ask a question now and you want to know the outcome to it. Will I get that job? Will my dog survive the operation next week? Will my son get into university? Should I buy that house? A number of questions about everyday life. Quite often it's good with. And the moment I hear the question, whenever I receive the question, the chart is drawn up for that time, that where I am and what time it was I heard it. Which in this case, if somebody phoned me right now, that would be now. But if they left a message on my answer machine and I didn't hear it till I finished the show in a couple of hours' time and I went out and listened to the answer machine, I'd have to take the time then because it's when I receive it, not when you asked it. That might sound very strange. You've got a very meaningful question in your head. You want to know. And it's very important. It's probably important to you, but until you let go of it and it comes to the neutral party, in theory, me, to look at the chart and interpret the answer, it's not born. It's like it's been born. So not having a birth time is a problem for a birth chart. Yes, especially if you don't know it in a 24-hour period. That's a heavy penalty to pay. There are astrologers who specialize in a thing called rectification. They take a number of dates of events that have occurred in your life, specifically events that are quite clear, such as accidents, deaths, horrible events usually, first got engaged, marriage, this sort of thing, major events in people's lives. And once we know the dates of that, they can pump them in. They used to do it very manually, but they can pump them into some pretty good software now and come up with potential birth times to test whether that's your birth time or not. That's called rectification. That, though, is still quite an involved thing. If your birth time's within an hour or two, it usually works well. If your birth time, you don't know your birth time any time in 24 hours, it's really hit and miss. It's still not a brilliant.
So as long as you can get it down to the right hour, you got something to work with. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's nice to have the time exact. You need a good working birth time simply because, as I said, every 4 minutes of clock time equals 1 degree. And that 1 degree might mean much in some circumstances, but that 1 degree can translate to a year out in some events that have been predicted.
Yeah.
Symbolically 1 degree for 1 year, something like that. So on occasions, the birth time is really needed to be accurate and have been tested. Yeah.
So, people, we're doing readings tonight. You were going to take a few horror questions?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. I won't do them yet, though, because I'd just like to show some examples. So people, because I want people to, if they've got any questions, most people sitting here might not have a question in their head. And the worst thing that can happen, really, and this is going to make it a bit hard, is if they go, oh, I'll just ask this old question, any old question. Then you'll get any old answer. Questions should be sincere, should be clear, and they should be heartfelt. And people in the audience tonight might not even know you could even ask a question. So it's a bit chicken and egg on tonight's scenario. But people can contact me down the track. I'll leave my contact details.
Yep. Emails in the show notes.
Yep. And, if in a week or two's time somebody says, I've got to know, will I get the job? Should I buy the house? Well, is my husband having an affair? No, that's not a good question. Questions, and basically then I can knock up a chart and I can either tell you over the phone the answer, I can do it via Zoom, or I can write it up as an email report as such. So tonight might be a little bit hypothetical, because if people suddenly start asking me a series of questions, we can have a look at them and have a play with them. But I don't take them all with a bit of a pinch of salt. I wouldn't be as confident about the answer unless the person's really already got quite a clear question, and this is the right time for them to ask it, if you know what I mean. That's the way that works. But I'd like to show you guys something a little bit first. It can look a bit technical, but I'll explain it basically, just so you're getting an idea, and that might give you all time to formulate any questions you have. So I'm going to share my screen with you at the moment.
Just maximize it.
Yep. Can you see? Everybody can see that chart?
Yeah, we can see you. You can see the chart.
Yeah, you can see it says Astro Clock up the top left-hand corner. You notice the date is today, 24th of February, 2022, and underneath that it's 8:33 and 55, 56, 57, 58 seconds. It's a astrological clock. Basically, if somebody was born here where I am in Keswick, in South Australia, if somebody was born here at 8:34, this would be their birth chart. And we'd read that whole chart, all those symbolic planets. These are the planets, these things here in the inner circle here.
Yep.
That's the moon, looks like the moon. This one is the sun, the circle with the dot. Some of them, and that's Mars, and there's Venus, the old male and female symbols to a degree. Some other symbols that might not make any sense, like Jupiter, this one here, or Neptune, like a trident. Neptune, the god, had a trident. These are symbols, astrological symbols for the planets. And that's them showing what sign they're in, the astrological sign. For instance, right now we're in early 24th of February, and then on the 24th of February every year, the sun is always in Pisces. And the sun on the 24th of February will always be at 5 degrees of Pisces. But the rest of the planets could be anywhere. They don't necessarily on the 24th of February next year even possibly look the same as they do now. It's only the sun because we have constant movement around the sun. This is a bit of astronomy.
Yep.
And so there's the sun at 5 degrees of Pisces. So that's what that is. Sun, 5 degrees, 46 minutes of Pisces. What's that say? It just says right now the sun is in Pisces. If this was somebody's birth chart, we'd say, oh, they were born, their sun sign is Pisces. The sun sign is what most people know. When they only know what sign they are, it's usually their thing. You're a Virgo, aren't you, Brooke?
Yep.
Yeah. So the sun would have been about 6 months away over here. This is Virgo over here. This little M thing looking there. That's Virgo. Right now, Virgo is actually the sign that's rising on the horizon. And you can see that this is being a moving clock. You can see that that number's changing every few seconds. And so every 4 minutes is going to be one of these degrees. So right now, this if somebody had asked a question right now, 21 degrees, 15 minutes of Virgo was rising. And what does that mean? It's where the whole chart starts from. And we look at this chart and we stop the clock. We suddenly say, if there was a question now, we'd pause the clock. So I pause the clock and stop the clock moving. And we've got, okay, we say, depends on what the question is. We then use this chart to answer that question. And that question could be about somebody's job. So if the question was about their job, we'd be mainly what's happening in this 10th sector here, this 10th house. These are houses. And the 10th house has a lot to do with somebody's job and career. If we're asking about their marriage or their partnership, we'd be looking at the 7th house here. If we're asking about their love life and their children, I know they're maybe two different things, we'd be looking at the 5th house. So each of these houses about their money, the 2nd house, we'd be looking purely with a horrid question. Depending on what the topic of the question is, we only focus on part of the chart. We don't read the whole chart, unlike a birth chart where you do read the whole chart with a combination of all these things. And we look basically and we say, is this a good chart for that question or not? Is the chart, you are represented in that chart. When you ask a question, whatever sign was rising, in this case Virgo, the planet that rules Virgo, all planets are connected to signs, the planet that rules, or the Lord, it's a funny expression, of Virgo is Mercury. So for the sake of a horary, Mercury becomes the person asking the question. And where's Mercury? Mercury is there, that blue character there, the Venus with horns. And that would be, there's Mercury at 10 degrees, 33 minutes of Aquarius. If we look, it's only 1 degree away from about to go into what we call the 6th house. This is the 6th house. So if somebody said to me, ask me right now a question about their health, the first thing I would notice is that the planet representing the person that they're asking the question is about to enter the house of disease and illness. Not a very nice statement, is it? Knocking on the door there. So if somebody actually had a question and said, am I going to get sick in the next week? I'd say, yeah. Sorry, that's a brutal thing to say. Because we look at more things in the chart before we give that final answer. We weigh things up. But that would be one signature saying that the planet
over a bit.
That's right. The planet representing the person is actually right knocking on the door at 10 degrees, knocking on the door of the 6th house. That means it's like standing in the garden of the house and knocking on the door and saying, let me in. In other words, it's indicating that this person is moving into the 6th house. If the question was totally different and they said, will I be going to the medical center tomorrow, even though I'm not sick? That would work too, because the 6th house would represent places like hospitals and medical centers and things like that. Yeah. So it depends on the question, which planet we look at, and we weigh up whether that planet is strong or weak. What I mean by that, is it strong to be able to do what it wants to do, or is it weak and totally at the power of something else? We weigh up, we look at the planet that rules the house that we're concerned about. We're concerned, if we were asking a health question right now, there is Aquarius sitting on the cusp of the 6th house. And traditionally, Aquarius is ruled by the planet Saturn. It is not ruled by the planet Uranus. That is a modern invention Uranus is important, but doesn't rule a sign. Sorry for all you Aquarians out there who think you're a zany because you're a Uranian. No, Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. And this is Saturn here. at 18 degrees. So not only is the planet representing the person asking the question about to enter the disease and illness house or the medical house of some kind here, this house has other meanings, by the way. I'll come back to the moment.
Yep.
But not only is it doing that, but it's actually only 8 degrees away from conjuncting. That means it's moving this way. All the planets are moving around this way. Mercury's quite fast. Saturn's quite slow. So in about 8 degrees time, Mercury's going to get to that Saturn and catch up that Saturn before it even moves very far from where it is. And so that will be about 8 degrees time. And that symbolically might translate, yeah, it looks like you might be about to have a health situation, but maybe it's going to be at its most acute or strongest in 8. And now what do I mean by 8? 8 is a symbolic time. It's either minutes, hours, days, weeks, months. Well, basically, you get a feel for what the timing is by looking at a few other factors in the chart, and that might be an 8. If you were already thinking you might be coming down with something, well, I'd say in 8 days' time would be the peak of it, because the planet representing you and the planet that rules the house of disease and illness are coming together. They're talking to each other. They're in conference with each other. If these were people, they would literally be talking to each other. If one of the people were you and the other person was your boyfriend, you'll be conjuncting them in 8 degrees time. Literally. That sounds crass, doesn't it? I try to keep a bit of humor in here because it can be a bit dry, but it would mean that the planet representing the other person and the planet representing you are about to make contact with each other. That could be another way. That would be depending on the question, though, and you do that, yeah. So this is a clock, and I can start that clock ticking again. We stopped it at 8:36 and 28 seconds, but if I start the animation again, we've now gone 6 minutes later. The chart isn't terribly different. So if all of you asked me a question tonight at much the same time, we'd be pretty well using much the same chart because it wouldn't have moved on much. But we might be asking about different things, so we could use different parts of the chart to answer it. But really, too many questions in the same subject don't work well. Like, it's always best to ask your most important question as straight up front, rather than, is my son getting to university, but then is he going to quit university within a year? There's too many questions in the same topic area. You're best off spacing those questions apart, because we have to focus really on the most important answer that comes. So that's a clock. Can I just move on and just quickly show you a couple of other little ones? I'll just exit that clock for the moment, and we'll go to this one. Now, I was up at Blackwood when I last saw you, Brooke, at a fair. And at 2:20 in the afternoon, the person will remain anonymous. A woman sat in front of me and asked me, where are my rings? Actually, where is my ring and where's my mother's ring? But rings in general.
Yep.
Which implied that maybe she'd lost them or misplaced them somewhere. Now, I think I might have said this in my last talk with you about horary. Before everybody goes mad and asks me how to find, it sends me a whole lot of lost object horries. Again, this is probably one of the more difficult things to do. But I want to show you this chart because the way the flow of the conversation went was quite, I think it's a really good example. So the woman asked, where are my rings? And she asked it on the 13th of February at 2:20 in the afternoon when I was up in Blackwood. And she was sitting in front of me, so it was instantaneous when she asked the question that the chart was drawn for then. There was no delay between asking and me hearing it. Okay. The first thing we would do is look to see what sign was rising at that time. The sign rising at that time was Taurus. And the planet that rules Taurus, Venus, signifies the woman asking the question. Right? So the person asking the question becomes, for this chart, not even if on another occasion she never is, Venus in this chart. And the thing we would do is look to say, oh, where is Venus? Where is her head? What's she thinking? Because often where the person is placed in the chart is usually what's important to them. So she's asked me a question about rings, but is that where her head is? All right, we test that out by saying she's in what we call the 8th house. This is the 8th house here, and she's in the 8th house. The 8th house is the house of death. Oh, it's also the house of other people's money. It's the house of other people's possessions. And when we say other people, usually it's a partner or a significant other person's possessions or money. Okay, and I just looked at that. I didn't say anything. I said, "Oh, well, I just thought to myself, oh, there's a head. I wonder if her rings have anything to do with the death or anything like that." But I didn't bring it up at the time because I needed to look at a few things in the chart, because you do look at a few things and check and balance them, and you end up coming up with whatever's the strongest, what we call testimony. Okay, so Venus was over there in the 8th. Planets also have a natural connection to objects, and rings and jewelry come under Venus anyway. Could also say, oh, the rings, the jewelry, as jewelry in general, are also signified by that same planet Venus. This doesn't often happen, that the person and the thing are the same thing, but it can. And so I can also judge that Venus in light of them being the rings themselves. So if she's asking, where are my rings? They're over there in the 8th house. Okay. And you might be starting to think something here at this point in time from what I've said, or you mightn't have a clue what I'm talking about. Okay. We also have to look at what sign they're in. Now, Venus is in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is an earth sign. Earth means that if literally where the rings may be, if they could be found or could be looked for at this point in time, is probably on the ground, because earth is the ground.
Yep.
So sometimes that's literal. So if she knew that her rings were definitely inside her house, so she didn't have to think they were miles away or anything like that, she would probably be, the first thing I'd say, all right, they're in an earth sign, Capricorn. And this Capricorn would signify certain rooms of the house, maybe. I forgot what Capricorn signifies as types of rooms in the house, but let's just say Capricorn was connected very much to the garden shed, or the garden, or something like, or the earth, or where you've got compost, or where you've got soil. If I said that to her and she said, holy moly, yes, it was only a couple of weeks ago I was out in the garden digging in the compost, that's worth looking at. And I'd say, yeah, go out and have a look in the compost. Now, that might not be the final answer, but that would be a clue. Okay. But when I looked at this chart, that's not what I saw at the time. What I saw, interestingly enough, was that the rings... I said that Venus is the natural ruler of rings, but you also have to go with whatever the planet is that in this chart that signifies the rings. Rings are your own personal possession. They're usually they're something we own, and they're something we can move around. And it's the second house that has most to do with that sort of thing. The second house is the house of money, essentially, and income, but it's also the house of movable possessions. When I say movable, anything you can move around. So even though a car could be a mode of transport and be connected to the third house, which is about transport, it's also, your car is the second house because it's something you control and move around. When you're inside your car going on a long journey, it's the first house, because the first house is your body, and you're inside the car, so the car is part of your body. So it's really, this sounds really strange, but it's really the context of the thing. Okay, so what have we got in the second house? We've got the moon. Now, the moon is where one's heart is. So this chart is telling me that this woman is, well, her head's over here in the 8th house, but where is her heart? Her heart Where's her emotions at the moment? Her emotions are on her possession. So this is a clue, not saying much, that this chart is sort of relevant to be read, because it's symbolically saying, wow, it's not like saying her heart's on her job and she's really thinking about a job. She's emotionally involved with a possession of some kind here. And that's relevant to asking a question about rings. Yeah, nothing magical about much of that. The chart is just telling me that it's fit to be read. It's an expression, fit to be read. The chart is it's meaningful. Okay, but I was wary, saying. So I had to say to it, common sense has to come into this situation. You've got to say to the person, okay, are your rings? Is it possible your rings? Do you know that your rings can only be at home? And if they say no, well, that means they're outside the home somewhere, probably. And thereby, what are we saying? We look, what is the 8th house? The 8th house is other people's money or other people's possessions. Now, if we look here at the 7th house, the 7th house is a partner. Could be her husband, her boyfriend, well, she's not straight, her girlfriend, whatever, whoever her significant partner is. And when I saw that one of the possible readings was that the rings, Venus and Mercury, both in that house, although we could say that Mercury technically is about to enter the 9th house, we would say that the Mercury representing the rings because of being the rule of the 2nd house and Venus representing the rings, both of them are in the 8th house, which says to me, I had to say to her, are your rings with your husband? And she started to cry. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to think. Is your husband still around? And she said, no. And I thought she meant he died. And how could the rings be with the husband unless she dropped them unless they're on, he took them into his burial place. No, that wasn't the case, though. It turned out that her husband had seen her for the first time in many years about 3 months ago. They'd been split for some time. But he'd come into the house and she suspected that he took them. She couldn't prove it. She didn't know. But the moment I said that, it was validating for her own intuition about it. And interestingly enough, when we look at the husband, right on that exact degree of the husband is a thing called the South Node. And the South Node is sneaky, deceptive, often pops up with robberies and thievery and things like that. So I had to say to her, try to be as tactful as possible, because I don't know how she felt about her ex. It was her ex-husband. I don't know how she felt about him. I had to say, well, is it possible that he might have them accidentally? I was trying to be diplomatic, but I said it was looking like he might have stolen them. And she was just saying, that's exactly right. She said, I don't know, but that's true. And finally, she said, but will I get them back? Because most people asking lost property things is not really asking where they are. They're asking, am I going to get them back? And when I looked, I saw that the rings themselves, Mercury, were just about to enter the 9th house. And I said to her, there's no chance they've gone overseas, is there? And she said, he came over from Ireland and he left again then. So he went back to Ireland and possibly he's got the rings. Now, she probably can't prove this. She probably can't accuse him based on some astrologer's strange...
She can accuse him of whatever she likes.
Well, she can. Yes, I guess so. But you know what I mean. It's like I would trust what I'm saying as being working a lot of the time, but I'm surely not going to put my life on it. And how do you go about getting them back from somebody that you're going to accuse of stealing them? I don't know. It didn't look good that she was going to, and that's as far as we got with it. She really didn't think she was going to get them back either. So. That was it's only by hearing her confirmation of what I said, they're in the partner's possession and they're probably about to go overseas or something like that. That's what happened. Yeah.
Unless there was someone at the psychic fair doing hoodoo.
Yeah.
And she could have gone to see them next.
Well, interestingly enough, I walked out after that and she'd been to see somebody I know beforehand who does oracle cards. And I don't know whether she'd even brought up that subject. I think she had. I think she was talking to this other reader about her lost rings. And that woman said to her, "Oh, go see Kris. He can do a horary on it."
Yep.
So later on, when I walked out to talk to that reader, she said, "Did that woman come to you?" I said, "Which one?" She said, "The one about the rings." I said, "Yes." And before the other person, I said, "I think they're with her husband. They've gone overseas." She said, "That's exactly what she thinks."
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a good example of, unfortunately, not a positive lost property one.
So, how many
yeah.
questions will you be able to take on that tonight?
What time are we? How are we doing for time? It's 8:55 now.
Yeah.
We're just under an hour in, aren't we? I probably could do 2 or 3. I think they can be exhausting, and that's why.
Yep.
And I'm asking whoever asks them to take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Even though I want you to ask it seriously, I want you to be quite clear about your question, rather than, "Oh, I don't really want to
Yep.
know." Because the more you ask a question that is vague, and the more you let it, the more it's going to just laugh in your face. It's prayer. It's like prayer. It's like you send it out there and you're getting
Yep.
the answer back again. Not because I'm divine in any way, but the chart is. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, if you
So
people,
if you've got a question, I can start fielding one. If you want. Yep.
And if it's pretty in depth, so if you'd like to donate to the PayPal link, Kris isn't. He doesn't mind cash either, as we all do. Okay, people.
Push it through the computer.
Yeah. Are you doing card readings at all, or you?
No, I do. I do horary.
Yep.
I can do hard
so
readings on another occasion if you want.
No, you're all right.
Yep.
You're all good.
Yep.
So if you look up, you scroll up and down and just see if there's any questions that you want to
Scroll up and down. Now, what do I scroll?
In comments.
Comments.
Comments. So you click on comments over on the side. Have you got comments on the side?
No, I don't. Hold on. You're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. There's you and I talking. I can just see you and I. I can see your priority link, PayPal notes, or will I?
See over here. See, up here.
Up. Sorry, can't see where you're pointing.
There.
Share us at
Oh, of course you can't see. Yeah, right up in the corner, right up in the top corner, underneath the blue sign in or
Thursday live.
Other corner.
Oh yes, I see. Comments.
Comment. Yep.
Ah yes.
Yep.
Wow, there's a lot there. Sorry, I haven't been answering your questions so far.
Oh, no, that's all right. That's all right. Okay, I'll start just for a group reading for everyone at the moment, and then we'll go to our drawn to. Kris will, when he finds a question, he will let us know. And first one I've got for a group reading for everyone is I've got Ignite Your Passions. I've got the Fire Guardian, and that's inverted. Okay, people, that's saying like, what are we doing? It's like our head's not in the game or our heart not in the game. This talks about us just going through the motions of life, like we're in a holding pattern. Okay, and when we're just doing that, we're just in the 3D. We're just doing the same thing. We're going day in, day out. We're just in survival mode, and it's we want to get out of survival mode, people, because underneath that I've got the Great Teacher card. Learn from your spiritual experiences. Okay, this is about taking all that knowledge that you need and igniting that passion. Okay, is people stop putting stuff on hold, because the next card I've got next to those is you and your loved ones are safe, and this card's about this card's going, your family's good or the people around you, but when you go depth into this card, it talks about not waiting around for family or for other people to change. Okay, it's about us making the changes ourselves. Okay, so with this ignite the passion, and get out of survival. We've got to get out of the survival mode, and it's time for us to ignite our passions, to stop waiting around for things to happen. And we're going to be the change. We're going to step up, and we're going to be the change in the world that we want to see at the moment. Okay, and we can't just wait around for the world to change. We're going to step up, and we're going to be the change. Okay, when we start to being the change, then that's when the world will start to change. Okay, and the action card I've got for everyone is Father Sky. Trust in the unknown. This is putting all the stuff that you cannot control. This is about giving it to the universe and go and like letting go and going, not worry. Like I can't control that, so I'm not going to worry about it. I can't do anything about that, so I'm not going to dwell on it and worry it. Okay, because that's a lot of wasted energy, people. That's a lot of wasted. If we would have put our focus on that, it can just pull us down. Okay, worried is a wasted emotion. Where energy flows, where our focus goes, energy flows. So people, with this, we can't control things. So we're just going to do our best and just give it to the universe, and the universe will take care of it. Inverted here, I've got it's time to release the negativity. Okay, this is about people. This is about holding on to stuff that no longer serves us, holding on to bad thought processes, holding on to negativity. And we've got to get out of that. Okay, we've got to stop with the negative stuff, because if we focus on that, we're just going to pull ourselves down, get ourselves moody, and like attracts like. So then we get all that stuff come to us. And we don't want to do that. We want to rise in vibration. We want to be happy, and we want all the happy stuff coming to us. So we have to release the negativity. And people like easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done, except for one thing, which is betrayal. That's easy. Believe in the impossible, people. Okay, we're going to start believing the possible. We want to, where our focus goes, we want to manifest. It's about having that positive focus and seeing that image, seeing what we want, and going, you know what? Yeah, the world can change, or things can change. Okay, we're going to start being happy. We're going to start being happy and put that image in our mind so we can help to manifest it. And the last card I got for everyone is the palette card, which means be creative, express yourself, and learn something new. Okay, don't put things on hold, people. You want to ignite that passion, you want to have a reason for living, it's up to us to go out and find it and go and ignite it. Not wait till we get into better circumstances. Not wait till, I'll do it next week when this what I'm going through now stops. The time is now. Now time is the only time that we have to do anything ever. Okay? That is a great reading for everyone. I hope it has helped you.
So, Brooke.
Yep.
There's about 4 or 5 questions I can clearly see here.
Yep.
I will, without letting anybody down here, would like to say that some of the questions are what we call open-ended, meaning
yep.
will I ever type questions. And the horary is never going to go answer a will I ever. It will answer a will I ever, but it doesn't really predict more than a few years ahead max. So those of you who ask, will I meet the love of my life, or will my sister and I ever reconcile, for instance, from Jenny at the top here at 8:53, she's asked that question. The answer would be yes or no, of course, but it's yes or no for a coming period ahead, which is probably maximum of a few years. It's never, the horary does not go indefinitely ahead. And I'm sorry, I haven't covered everything, all the things that would need to be, make the horary work best. So if anybody still wants their question, but is accepting that it's, like I think there was one here, will the scar tissue around my heart ever, sorry if I'm reading somebody else's question aloud here, allow me to be truly in a loving relationship with a partner ever again? If that was reworded to, will the scar tissue around my heart ever allow me to be truly in a loving relationship within the next year, 2 years? Yeah, it will talk about that. But that will still be a pretty heavy question, won't it? It's like things. So I do ask people that's the sort of thing that it's best asking it clearly, strongly, at some random time, even if it was, 3 o'clock in the morning and I didn't answer the phone because I didn't hear it. It doesn't matter. It's when I hear it. So yes, we can do some hypothetical answers using some of these charts just for the sake of it. But I'd really say don't take it to heart too much, because it needs, even if you've got the most sincere question in your heart right now with that question, it's the ever part of it that's really, really making it thingy. So there's a few others here. Here's another one. When will my life partner come in for me, please? Right. Life partner is implying forever. When will a better question would have been, will I connect to a long-term partner within the next, and put a time limit on it? Now you can say 5 years, but if the answer was no, it might be that it happened at 5 years and 3 days. You see,
damn, I was so close.
yeah, and I'd count that as pretty good, but most people get the shit and say you were wrong. So really, and all questions should have some basis in reality. I'm not saying anybody's question here doesn't, But in other words, will I get the job is a good question if you've applied or you're going to apply and you're practically going to do something about it, and you're putting the ball in motion. If you're asking, will I get the job, and I do the chart and it says
a job,
it's weak, it's there is one there about work there, and say the chart was really weak, and I said, it's not looking good. And I said to you, well, have you applied? And you say, no. You get what I mean? There's no reality in that situation. There's not even a possibility of it, because you might even be put off and say, well, I'm not going to go for it because he said no, I'm not going to get it. You see, this is the dangerous part of knowing what's to come. It's really because things are already in motion. Your question's sincere and important, and you've let go of it. Even the answer you don't want, you're prepared to accept for the moment. Not that I'm 100% right, but simply because that's the way it works. So,
will I meet a life partner in 6 months?
Who, you or somebody's already asked? See, Jenny said she's changed it now and said, in the next few years, will I reconcile with my younger sister? That's workable. Can we look at that one? Sorry.
Yeah.
Get me on another occasion, Brooke. Otherwise, your audience will be shitty that you took the question.
You start analysing the chart, and I've got a couple of donated readings to do.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so who wanted a
reconcile with younger sister? Okay.
Baby Queen Girl.
903.
You still there, Baby Queen Girl?
Have I stolen your screen?
No, I can still see it there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. You don't need your. You don't need to
reading out.
Yeah.
Okay, baby. Who we got there? Do I? Do it for the next 6 months. Okay. Okay, so who would like? I've got some donated readings to do for Cindy. Will I receive some of money? You will on payday. Someone might buy you a coffee. So, see, if someone buys you a coffee, will that be like, oh, my second inheritance? Damn. Slack ass read rhyme. Montana, are you there? Montana, would you like a reading? So who are you reading for? So I don't give them a reading. Okay, Montana. Anything you want me to look into, Montana? I just want a general. PayPal's in the show notes, Amanda. Okay. There's some things that need to be changed, Montana. Okay. Just some changes, some tweaks. We've all got stuff that we need to change at the moment. The first card I've got for you is the Water Guardian. This is about connecting with the emotions, okay? This is about going deep inside your heart, opening up to yourself and being honest with yourself, okay? Why do I feel this way? Okay, because a lot of the times when we can get angry with people, or we can be upset about a certain job. What we really need to do is the Water Guardian is all about going deep within inside ourselves, connecting with our emotions, and asking ourselves, well, why do I feel like this? Okay, because then we can, sometimes it's not that person that's pissing us off. Sometimes it can be another issue outside of that. So by connecting with our emotions, going deep and asking the real questions and being honest with ourselves, we can find out what's really going on inside of our heart. Because underneath that, I've got the Oracle, wait for important information. So this is telling me that if you start connecting with your emotions, okay, it's going to start telling you stuff. Okay, it's going to start telling you stuff about yourself and your current situation. This is going to help you deal with whatever you're going through at the moment. Okay. But at the moment, look, just keep working through. If you keep working through these things at the moment, it's really important for you to work through your emotions at the moment. Okay, it will pay off. Okay, there will be some fruition that comes forward with that. But at the moment, the moment I'm getting that it's hard for you. Okay, it's hard for you. Like you're feeling vulnerable. You don't want to be open. It's like you're defensive. Because I've got here, look, I've got the action card I've got for you is the warrior card, and the warrior card's is inverted. It's just being fearless and standing strong. So this is telling me that it's like, you know what you need to be doing, but at the moment you're like, yeah, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to touch it. But this cards are saying that, look, it's time to stand. We're going to get this card around the other way. This is time for you to stand up, be spirit and strong, connect with those emotions, and it's going to bring information. It's going to tell you about, because when we don't deal with stuff, it acts as blocks and it acts as chains as we try to move forward. There's an old saying, we feel chained down, but we're the one hanging onto the chain in life. We're always the one hanging onto the chain, unless there are literally chains. And then just find out who's got the key. But moving on, I've got here, look, adjustments are required. This is inverted. So this is about attachment. Okay, this is about looking at stuff that's no longer serving us. This is about working out what we need to let go of to move forward. Okay, so it's really important for you. And here, look, and under adjustments required, I got you and your loved ones are safe. This is like I'm waiting around. I'll change when they change. Coming under this card, it's like, I'll change when they change, because they're ticking me off. Because it's about water guarding the emotions at the moment. Okay, but you know what? You gotta, if you don't make these changes, if you don't be fearless and do things for you, connect with your emotions and work out why. If you keep waiting around for other people, okay, to change, and then you'll change. Okay, I've got nothing good will come of this situation. This is a frustration card. Okay. And it's not. This card is not as bad as it seems. But you turn these cards around, okay, and that's going to give a more positive outcome. Because otherwise, if we don't deal with these things, you're going to get continual frustration, as you try to move forward. And we don't want that. We want to deal with things. We want to move forward. We want to work it out. Okay. And the last card I've got for you is the Owl card. Be observant. It's time to see things more clearly. Draw on your feminine energy. Okay, so get in contact. Try to think of those emotions. When you get those emotions stirring, go, okay, why am I feeling like that? And just keep tracing it back. Okay, because usually we can get triggered by a lot of people. And, they bloody pissed me off. Okay, and deep down inside, if we trace back what triggered us, it wasn't actually that person. Okay, it shouldn't matter what that person does. It's usually an underlying issue. Okay, so it's really important for you to connect with yourself and find out what's really happening in the root cause of things in that heart. Okay, and then things will start to open up for you. Okay, and things will start to move forward positive, and it'll be a real game changer for you. Okay, Montana, I hope that's helped you.
I can do that one now. Ready?
Yeah, go.
Okay. All right. Let me just come back.
You're up. Who's the question from?
Jenny. I think it was Jenny about reconciling with her sister. And then she came back and put a time limit on it.
Okay.
So, just to make it manageable. Okay. This can you guys see this chart I'm pointing at? Can you share it again, Brooke? Or
it's up.
It's up. Okay.
Yep. You
can see my mouse pointer and everything like that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Take this with a pinch of salt because I'd rather do it seriously and slowly, but still, yep. Let's go with it. Okay. So at the time you asked the question, which was at 9:03 when you asked the adjusted question at 9:03, it was there was only 1 degree, just on 2 degrees of Libra rising at the time. When planets, when a degree is rising is within the first few degrees, it's not a big statement, but it's a general statement of saying it could be too early to ask, right? It might be implying that things need to move on a little bit more before there's a lot more things happening in this chart. But that doesn't rule out what I'm about to tell you either. It's just that you've asked just as the ascendant has moved into Libra and Venus becomes you. So Jenny, you are Venus in Capricorn here, just inside the 5th house here. If we look over here at this table I'm pointing at, Venus is -5 and Peregrine. Each planet gets a score, a strong of strength and weakness. And basically, when things are -5, they're very weak. That's not the final answer, though, but they're weak in their capacity. When a planet is representing somebody is weak, it doesn't have a lot of capacity to do much about it. Now, you might think you do, or you might not think you do. I don't know how this fits your reality. But in this question about records, and purely in this question, not about being weak in other areas of life, in this question, you've only scored -5, which is pretty weak. But it's the P that's next to that. It's called Peregrine. Peregrine means that Venus is in a part of a sign at 22, a Capricorn there, where it's in no man's land. A peregrine falcon is a bird that flies above the ground and won't land, doesn't commit to landing. So one general statement, and it's not the final answer to your question, by the way, but one general statement to take into consideration is that you yourself are not in a strong position to do much about it at this point in time. It's early days for some reason, even if this is an old situation in your head. It's early days in something has just changed. Some situations changed fairly recently, even if you don't find out what that is. And it's in its early days of a new phase. And subsequently, you are not in a very strong position to do much about it. And because it's peregrine, it might mean that you really can't do much about it. Your hands may be tied, or you are not putting enough effort into it of a practical nature. I'm not saying it'll work if you do, because your hands might be tied for all sorts of reasons, but that's it. Now, the moon represents you as well. And here's the moon here. The moon, as I said before, is where one's heart is. And look where it is. It's in the 3rd house. And the 3rd house is the house of siblings. So again, we've got a chart that's showing the emotional planet. Where is my heart? My heart is in the house of my siblings. So asking a question about reconciling with a sibling shows the emotional importance of this situation. So again, it shows it's a radical or fit to be read chart. But your head is not able to do much about it at this point in time, even though your heart might be very much feeling that as such. Now, what we need is the planet representing you, Venus or the moon, in its movement, to be making an aspect of these lines in between. An aspect is a planet moving towards another planet, and it needs to move towards your sister. Now, your sister is signified by Sagittarius on the 3rd house cusp. I'm not saying she's a Sagittarian, but Sagittarius is on the cusp of the 3rd house, and the planet that rules that is Jupiter. So here is your sister here, Jupiter in Pisces over here. Now, if you look at her over here, she's the strongest planet in the chart. She's +8. If you look at these scores, she's +8. So what that simply says is that she's in the ball's in her court. She's in a very strong position. Now, that mightn't make sense either. She might have all the reasons in the world why she can't reconcile or doesn't want to or wants to, whatever. But at this point in time, there's a clue here that she is in her own house. What's that mean? Well, it might mean she's literally at home right now when you ask the question. Silly non-statement. But it means that she is in command of her own resources. So the ball's in her court. You're in an extremely weak position. She's the strongest planet in the chart. If this was a boxing match, she would thrash you. But it's not a boxing match. It's about reconciliation and feelings. And so it does show your heart is where your sister is. It does show that she herself is looking after number 1. Now, that could be negative. That could be she might be being selfish. She might be being self-contained. She might not be even thinking about anybody but herself. Or if it's not as bad as that, it could just mean that she's in a very strong position to determine the outcome of this situation. What we need, though, is the planets representing you and her to be in their movement coming together. And the moon here is at 12 degrees of Sagittarius, 12 degrees 20 minutes. And Jupiter is at 12 degrees 46 minutes of Pisces. They're actually in the same degree. So on a quick statement, I would say to you is that yes, you are going to have contact with her almost immediately. Now you might be affected by what I say and try and ring her. I don't know, but the moon and Jupiter are making an aspect to each other. So will I reconcile with my sister? The answer will probably be yes, simply because those two planets are talking to each other. But I will qualify it and say the aspect between the moon and Jupiter is a square, and square is at cross purposes. So usually it means reconciliation, but with some difficulty. Reconciliation, and it might be difficulty because nothing to do with either of you. It might be difficult because where she is, or whatever like that, or that her, or something about her strength and your weakness are at odds with each other at this point in time. When I look at the moon is in Jupiter's sign, which means that yes, you're sort of in her pocket. The moon is actually in the rulership of Jupiter, which is she, which sort of, it's like saying, who's your daddy? She is. It's, expression, who's your daddy? Who, what motivates me? What's in control of me? I'm in her house and I'm in her sign. So you're sort of in her pocket. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not saying. But she, on the other hand, is in none of the dignities, these are called dignities of the moon, which means she might not, at worst, she might not even be thinking of you, and she might be really just thinking of herself here. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question which you might not be able to answer, which you might be able to answer in the comments thing later on. How much is the planet representing you, Venus, is exactly the same degree as the planet Mars, which means possibly that if you do try and contact her too soon, like immediately, you may have conflict here, because the planet representing you is virtually at the same degree, and usually when they're at the same degree, it usually means the next hour, the next day, the next week, something very soon. Both planets, the moon representing you at 12 and she at 12, are at the same degree, and the other planet representing you and the planet Mars are at the same degree. Now, this might be totally out of left field. Mars rules the 7th house in this chart. I'm wondering, you can rule this out if it's not even relevant, but the fact that you're about to conjunct Mars within minutes here, within half a degree of thing, Mars rules the actual 7th house, and the 7th house is possibly your husband or your partner if you have one. If you don't have one, don't worry about what I'm saying. And I would be then saying, oh, what's your husband got to do with this situation? Are you listening to his advice, or is he influencing this situation? Now, that whole story might not be true. It might be simply saying Venus is about to conjunct Mars without linking it to your husband. Mars is the planet of conflict and fights. So I would say to you that even though I do see you reconciling as a yes, I see it with difficulty. And because they're so close at this point in time, in timing, that the question is whether or not this is whether or not, if you're too fast about it or too expectation because of these early days here, you might get an explosion situation. Now, that might not be right. Reconciling with your sister, usually assume reconciliation means you've had trouble. So are you going to make it up with each other? So that Mars might be a clue not to act too quickly. You're going to have to be brave with that Mars. That Mars can be a good planet when it's brave, but it's not a good planet for lack of conflict. So you've got that right on the doorstep. If on the outside, the moon will then go on once it's past Jupiter, and it will make an aspect to Saturn. Saturn's at 18 degrees here in about 6. I'll come to that in a moment. And it just so happens that Jupiter and Saturn are in what we call mutual reception with each other. And when two planets are in what we call mutual reception, it means that Saturn may be somebody that she's in partnership with, or somebody that can help her in some way here. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is another party involved, and that you're making contact with that other party like almost like a go-between person, possibly. I'm just making it fit the logic. It might not be a go-between person in 6 degrees time. And because the moon is in a cadent house, which is the slowest in immutable, so it's middling. If we were looking at days, weeks, and months, we would be looking at 6 weeks' time. If we're looking at weeks, months, and years, then we would be looking at 6 months' time. One of those two timings is going to be relevant for you making contact with somebody or something that is possibly working, that can influence or can is supportive or helpful to your sister. That's a strange thing. This I don't. I can't make much more sense out of than that.
Mm.
Your sister has somebody else there, whoever they are, that they're sort of can work together on it. On this, in this question, it might be not. It doesn't mean they're working together in a job. It just means that they're in mutual reception. They receive each other. Yeah.
I got 2 cards for a sister. I got 3. I got the Fiery Climax Preaches as a frustration card. But at the same time, I've got a new starters coming and a new romantic cycle begins for a sister.
Right.
So she could be just in the middle of something new, and like, I don't want to fucking deal with it right now.
Yeah. Well, she's in her own sign, which means she's, regardless of what's happening with her in this question, even if she does have a love life, something else, in this question, she's in a very strong position to determine the outcome at this point in time, which is not necessarily a great thing when you're going cap in hand trying to reconcile with somebody because it's on their terms. But it is looking like there will be a connection, and it does look sort of generally positive to me, but it may come through an intermediary or another party that she's already, and that's in about 6 weeks or 6 months' time. I know they're two different timings.
I had the Fiery Climax Approaches inverted, which is a frustration card about not seeing what's right under your nose. So basically what that card was telling me is regarding this situation is like, she doesn't want to look at it right now, and she's not going to see it. She's just not interested in looking at.
You mean the sister? You mean?
Yeah, the sister.
Yeah,
I would say resolving it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, she's looking after number one at the moment.
Just doing other stuff. Yeah, she doesn't want to look at it.
Yeah,
and obviously the answer's there. The answer's there, but she doesn't want to look at it at the moment. She's not interested in looking at it. No. That's all I got.
Yeah.
With the cards.
Yeah, but there is a yes in this question. In the simple answer of yes or no, the emotional planet representing Jenny and her sister are in aspect to each other. So that gives it a yes. It's just that it's not easy, and it's not done easy. And I have a feeling it's connected to somebody that's going to be either an intermediary. I'm only using that term simply because her sister has somebody else that Jenny's possibly going to be connecting to in 6.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, I got to do another donated reading from Cindy. Okay, Cindy. The winner is Cindy. Oops, I'll turn that off. Okay, he would like a reading. Cards. They're probably like that. Yeah, I don't want no boring cards. I had them last week. I want a horror. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
There's more comments coming in all the time.
Yeah, there is. Did you want a reading, Cindy? We can do your reading. We can do a. Okay, no.
What was that?
Okay, Amanda.
Amanda's got a question for me too. I think she had. Yeah.
Are you doing her question? Because if you're doing her question, I'll read for someone else. If you've chosen her question.
I hadn't quite. I think there's so many. I keep scrolling up to where she first asked. This is Amanda Whitehorn. All right, coming down. I've lost it. I think I'm trying to find it in the sea of comments.
Yeah, that's interesting because on Jenny, on your side, I had be bold, make the first move, and card saying you're going to work through it. But the first card was luck is on your side, but it was inverted. So it was almost like saying, well, luck's on your side, but not at the moment.
Now, the question that Amanda's asked, will I connect to spirits within the next 2 years? Okay, I'm afraid to tell you that horary, because it's based on the house system and those houses represent the everyday mundane stuff, the nearest we can get to spirits and is the ninth house in a chart, because the ninth house generally is the house of higher learning. And higher learning could be university and postgraduate study, or higher learning could be spiritual quests and things like that. So if I was to go run with that question, when it was asked at 9:06, it's very much the same chart, but I don't have to look at the same planets because it's a different house. Let's go back to it. I'll move it forward 3 minutes to 9:06 for what it's worth. Okay.
Cosmo and Geraldine, I'll get to both of you guys in a minute.
Okay.
Who's this one for?
This is for Amanda's question about will I connect the spirit in the next few years, 2 years or something like that. Okay. It's when I had a really good example. I was going to show you guys of somebody came and sat in front of me and said, are there any messages from Mother? And I said, I'm not a medium. It doesn't mean I don't pick up stuff, but I'm not a medium. Perhaps you should go over that reader over there or that medium over there. And they said, no, we want you to do it. I said, oh, right. I said, all right, I'll do it as a horary. I said, I don't know if I can do it. And it turned out to be perfect. So I must not say no to some questions about spirit, because even though most of the things in a horary chart are the everyday mundane world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where it can be a bit, like it's not giving you the meaning of life. It's giving you what's happening.
Yeah, the aspect of it, yeah.
You
can tell them, if you're paying, I'm praying.
Okay. So when Amanda asked that question 3 minutes later, she again was, Libra was still rising at 3, it had moved on to 3 degrees. Venus was still the planet representing her, aside from representing Jenny, even though we have totally different questions. And that Venus again is sitting right on the cusp of the 5th house at this point in time. The fact it's conjuncting Mars, and it's still doing that from before, does show that the first cab off the rank is something about is an issue to do with possibly bravery and courage, especially in the area of children or childbirth or something like that. Now that might not even be relevant. You might not be of a childbearing age or anything like that. But the Mars is in the 5th house, and the Venus is conjuncting, is sitting at the same degree. So I can't ignore that Mars. And Mars is a naughty boy. Mars and Saturn in the charts generally give you a little bit of trouble. I'm not saying there's trouble from this, because that Mars is strong and exalted, and that Venus is linking to it. So again, I get the rule of the 7th house coming very strong in the 5th house. So I don't know whether they're independent of your question, whether or not this is very much immediately on your doorstep. You've either got something significant happening with the partner or husband, or a relationship here just on the doorstep here. And that's not the be all. I mean, people who are asking me, will they have their love of their life next year? And I'm talking about a question that had nothing to do with that subject matter. So I'm just bringing it up because that Venus, the planet representing you in this chart, is exactly the same degree as Mars, and Mars just happens to be connecting to a partnership or a partner or the partner or an existent. The thing is it connecting to it in a brave, needing courage way, or is it connecting it to it in giving your power away to somebody else in a nice sort of way, but putting them on a pedestal because that Mars is exalted? But if we go up to the 9th house, the 9th house has Gemini on the cusp. Mercury is the rule of the 9th house. So Mercury signifies in this chart the higher learning. Mercury is at 10 degrees of Aquarius. The moon is just separated from a sextile to it. 2 degrees ago. Okay. There is that Mercury is, well, what's the Mercury like? Mercury's quite good at +4. What is Mercury? Mercury, but there's no applying aspect between you, Amanda, and Mercury. So that is a shocking thing to say, because if I was taking this very seriously and this was a real clear reading, and that's why I asked you to be careful here, I would be saying the answer to your question is no. Now that sounds, if connecting the spirit next to you, that could be a crushingly brutal thing to say to you, and I've no intention of saying that that is the case. So you really have to look at this in context of tonight and say, okay, it might sound like a cop-out, but that Venus is not making an aspect to the rule of the ninth, and I'm assuming that the rule of the ninth is all about your higher learning and higher spiritual path. That Mercury is going to go on to, what is the higher learning going to do? The higher learning is going to hit Saturn in 8 degrees time. So if there is some development for your higher learning, I'd say it's in about 8 months' time. There's something significant here that Mercury's going on to connect to Saturn, and Saturn is very strong in this chart in its own sign. So there could be something quite focused or disciplinary. So if it is to do with your higher learning or your spiritual connection, it seems to be something solid, but something rather endurance, a bit of endurance here. Saturn's not the easiest planet to come in contact with. Saturn does tend to bring groundedness and practical into a situation, and the planet representing you is eight months, I think, off from connecting to that Saturn at this point in time, and subsequently that Mercury, which represents the higher ruling, is going to be hitting Saturn, and Saturn in the chart just happens to be the exalted ruler of the first, which what that means is that something you value very highly is Saturn, even though Saturn normally is a sobering, practical, rather self-disciplined planet. It's almost like saying you've got something to do with your higher learning that's very self-disciplinary in 8 time, and so that might be something that's not necessarily easy, but disciplines you in some way here. So depending where you are along that path, I would say there is some really quite responsible, sobering spiritual connection for you in 8 here. But generally speaking, the planet representing you, Venus, is not making a clear aspect to that Mercury. So the simple yes is not there. The simple yes to your question is not there. I'm just wondering what this thing in 8 months might.
You're going to have to work for it, Amanda.
Yeah.
That's it. Put in the hard yard.
Yeah. Now, it's awful when you tell people things that might be not a no to it when they want a yes or something like that. But that's why you should ask it when you're really you're ready to let go of it. I know that's a big precondition in a sense. So doing it tonight, we're doing it for a bit of slap and tickle going on here.
I know. It's like when you get the card going, your pastor's holding you back.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, yeah, like, my dog died yesterday. And I'm like, oh, dear God. Had nothing to do with your dog.
No.
But, okay. You've done with that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I can say from that.
Okay. Okay. Dick, Kamse, just I'll get you in a second. Is Geraldine? You still there, Geraldine? Yeah, I'll get you next. Oh, yep. Crystal Fuse, I'll get you next. Is Geraldine there? Geraldine, are you still there? I hope so. I'll pull some cards out for your career thing. No? Yes? How you going, Nicole? Hey, Tracy. Geraldine. Okay, with your career thing. Okay, well, look, you really, what do you want to do? Okay, because I'm getting this confusion. You're up in arms about your career path. Okay, you're like, what do I do? I don't know what I'm doing. It's all about. I've got the Fire Guardian inverted, which is all about igniting your passion. So that's telling me that it's almost like you're selling yourself short at the moment. Okay, but you need to know that it's time to work out what you really want to do. Okay, what do you want to do? What drives you? What you like to do? What excites you? Okay, it's all about passion. What do they say? If you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, obviously that doesn't work that way when you've got kids. It's still bloody doing the washing. But at the moment, it's about you finding out what your passions are, okay, and taking steps towards that. Because I've got the lady card underlining the main thing about your career path, and it's about enjoy growth and reap the rewards. But this is all about finding. This is about. I feel like it's about you doing stuff that you want to do, but you've got limitations on yourself at the moment. Because I've got here, look, I've got you are good enough. So there's you're thinking about going in one direction that you want to go, but you're like, oh well, I don't know if I'm qualified, or I don't know if I can get a job like that. Well, it's time to think big. It's time to think. It's time to put that energy out there into the universe and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be positive about it. There's something I really want to do. I want to make a go of it. I just think that you should really make it a go, but it's like you're holding yourself back. It's not fair. It's just you don't. You're looking at the limitations at the moment, okay? You're looking at the limitations. You're looking about the can'ts. You've got to get your focus off the can'ts. Because for your action card, I've got the seer, see beyond your current situation. Okay, that's telling me that there's possibilities. There's possibilities moving forward, but at the moment, your eyes are on the obstacle. Okay, and it's all about a big picture. This is about the big picture. Okay, and when we focus on the big picture, obstacles, we don't even notice them as much, and we just go around them. And then when we focus on the big picture and we go around the obstacles, we start to see things that was easier to go around than I expected. Why? Because your focus and energy wasn't on a block, wasn't on what was stopping you. It was on getting to the prize. Okay, because underlying that card, I've got hope, have faith in it will happen. So this is just really telling me that if you want to do something that you want to do, okay, you are good enough, but you've really got to believe it in your heart. Okay, you got to go, you know what? Yeah, stuff it. I am going to do it. Okay, Geraldine, you got to go, stuff it. I am going to do it, and I'm going to think on the fly, and I'm going to work hard because coming up, I've got the universe is here. Look, the universe is here to help. Okay, it's saying surrender to the divine. This is all about things that we can't control. This is letting the universe take it and getting it out of our head, getting it out of our worry. Just going on. Yep, I'm going to focus on what I need to do. But even though the universe has got your back, the universe is going to help you out, and the universe wants you to move forward. Here, the next card up for you is dreaming, practical planning. So you need to still take steps. There's still some work you need to do. Okay, it's hard work. Okay, but you can get through this. Okay, you can get through this. You can make this happen. The universe is telling me that right here in front of me, it's saying, look, if you want to ignite, you want to go forward, you want to believe, you want to happen, it can happen. Okay, but it's all up to you at the moment. But you've got some work to do. Okay, and it's going to be a time of growing. You're going to, by moving forward, if you want to go for the prize, it's going to teach you stuff about yourself. You can learn new stuff about it. It's going to give you confidence. It's going to give you more self-confidence, and it's going to help shape you into the person that you want to be. Okay. And the last card I've got for you, the end of a task cycle approaches. It's inverted. So you know what that's saying? It's up to you. Okay. It's all on you, but it's all there. It's all there. So what do you want to do? Don't sell yourself short. The universe is saying, don't sell yourself short. Go for broke. Do it hard. Do what you want to do. And that's what we all should do, really. Okay. I hope that's helped you, Geraldine. Hey, Roberta. And I will get that. Geraldine, I'll just remind you that Cindy, that reading was donated by Cindy. That Cindy was donated by a reading. And I'll get Cosmos Crystalline. You know the one I was talking about. I'll get you next. Have you got someone else ready to go? Or? Or are you
There's
still
so
looking?
many here. I'm going down the page. They've still been coming in.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
I'll do someone else then. Where was Crystal Infused? Crystal Infused. Are you there?
She's looking for guidance or something general. That's probably more of a card reading. She's saying, I would love a guidance, please. Really need to be put back on track.
That's it.
Any exciting coming? That's
Yep.
that would be best. I'd do that with,
Yes.
if I was doing cards, I'd do the tarot for that. Yeah. Because it's not
I like doing people when you throw out a card and you just go, dear God. I'm putting that one back in the deck. I'm not doing that for you, Crystal Infused. I'm mucking around. It's me and Chris are light-hearted blokes. We're here to have fun. Okay, what have I got for you, Crystal? Let's see. Can't just. I hate it when the same cards come out.
Yeah.
But if they come out a third time, you know they were meant.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know they were meant to come out. Okay. Oh, comfort zones. But it's not straight up comfort zones. Okay, so there's some growth here to do. There's choices of some growth for you, Crystal Line. Okay. Okay, the main card I've got for you is the Magic Guardian. Unlock with the magic within. You know what that card's about? That card's about, okay, it's all inside you. Okay, it's all inside us. Okay, so what you need to do is, this is all about your focus. The universe is telling me, has got the Magic Guardian. Unlock the magic within. This is all about all the power to do what you need to do to find out where you want to go. It's all inside of you. Okay, and it's about you recognizing that, going deep within inside yourself and unlocking all those answers, because everything's sitting already in front of you. But underlining that card, I'm going that, hey, look, you've got the stuff. You've got the stuff to do it. You've got the stuff to do what you need to do, to get the answers that you need to do. It's all inside you at the moment. But underneath that, I've got the Stargazer. Set your sights higher, because like the Stargazer, he looks up at the stars, and when he looks up at the stars, he thinks, hey, I should go and see an astrologer. No, he doesn't. He sometimes does, but at the moment, set your sights higher. This is about when we look at the majesty of the sky and the night sky. It understands that some of the stuff that we're going through at the moment is just very small compared to how big things really are. Okay, so this is about shifting your focus for you at the moment. Okay, so it's a good time to shift your focus and know that you've got it all inside of you, waiting to come out. Okay, you've got the magic to make decisions. You've got the magic to make the choices. You've got the magic to make things happen. Okay, you've got all those abilities. Okay, but this is about focus and where your focus is going. This is about having you focus on the cards and the wants, and what you're trying to work out, like what are all the problems that I'm going to face. Oh, if I do that, that's going to happen. Do that. We're going to get out of that mode and get out of that mode. Okay, and live like there's no tomorrow. Okay, because moving on, I've got you are close to achieving your goals. It's inverted though, right? Okay, because it has an underlying card. It has the Lord, and the Lord says, "Take charge with authority." So this is a time of action for you. This is a time when you got to go, hey, recognize yourself and recognize your skills and recognize the power within, and go, you know what? Yeah, wait a sec. I got to, stop looking at the little problems around me and step up, and that. I've got the ability to do it, the ability to move forward. I've got everything I need to do. It's like, you give yourself a slap in the face and go, come on, let's get my head back in the game. Okay, let's get things into perspective. That's really important for you at the moment. Okay, because the main action card I've got for you is inverted. Abundance comes in all shapes and forms, and be open to receive. See, this is saying, look, there's abundant universe, but at the moment that you're looking around, you're in lack. You're in lack mode. Okay, this is inverted. You're in lack mode. That means you're like looking at the can'ts, the things you haven't. Okay, and when we do that, we draw more of a can'ts and cannots into us. Okay, we need this card around. This is where you got to start being positive and going. You're like, hey, look, I've got everything I need. Everything always works out. I've got a roof over my head, feet on the table. Okay, now it's about changing that mindset. Being standing up, taking that authority, changing that mindset for you. Just the inner power. Because your current situation here, look, I've got nothing set in stone. So, we think, oh yeah, but I've got to deal with that, and that's really hard to deal with. But I don't know what I can do about that. But nothing's set in stone. Okay, what's here tomorrow can be like a big wall or a tower or a mountain. Can be here one day, thinking, I'm going to have to deal with that for the rest of the life, and then we turn around and go, shit, never saw that coming. It's gone. Okay, this is just saying that like things change. Okay, things can change, and don't feel trapped by things being changed. Okay, because here I've got, look, but coming after that, I've got don't let pride get in your way, and that's inverted. That means that you're worried about what other people are going to think. You're worried about comfort zones, how it's going to look. If you want to get crazy and change some things up, okay, you got to do it for you. You got to do it for you and no one else to move forward at the moment, because it's all there. And don't worry what people think. Sometimes we got to go back a few steps to go forward a few steps, but you know what? That makes us so much stronger and teaches us so many life's lessons. Okay, it's really character building. So don't ever be afraid of that. Okay, and the last card I've got for you is confirmation. Ask those desired questions. Open your heart to receive the signs from above. That's just saying, hey, you can connect. You got to go for guidance. You got to connect to your spirit guides, prayer, whatever it is that you do. Okay, and ask the universe to show you stuff. So help me out, universe. Show me some signs. Show me some synchronicities. Throw me a freaking bone, universe. The universe is good. The universe is good. When we all meet us halfway when we respond. Sometimes it'll do us a solid. But usually when it makes us meet it halfway, it is doing us a solid because it helps us to grow and it helps us to be a better version of ourselves. So I hope that's helped you. And I'll give you one. I've got a spirit guide card for you, Cosmo. Trust your intuition. First, it's because my green screen. Yep, trust your intuition. Because when we don't listen to it, it's usually when we're late for work. Not now, intuition. I'm late for work. But when we listen to our intuition, we tune into it, then we start to watch the synchronicities just start to unfold, and we really start to flow along magically in this universe. Okay. You got one for us, Kris? Hope that's helped you, Crystal Infused.
There's an earlier question. I'm going through them. There was one that came in at 8:42, which is, I'll just see if I can knock that up. From Sharon, if she's still there.
Are you there, Sharon?
Sharon Waddle.
Who's sorry? Carly. I don't see anyone in the list called sorry. Hi, sorry. I just woke up.
Right. Yeah, whether Sharon's still there or not to hear this.
Sharon?
She asked
10 seconds. She's not there. Go to someone else because people come in and out. It'll be a waste of your energy.
That was quite a clear question. That's why I zoomed in on it.
Okay.
Will my land be registered?
I got this one in the bag.
Yeah.
This one's in the bag.
It's a black and white.
This one. Oh, sometimes I do that. I see someone in the show and I think, oh, look, I'm going to read. They ask for a reading, and I get the cards out and I look at the reading and I go, wow, check out this reading. And then I call for them and they've left the show.
Some people are asking some questions just about, not so much horror questions, but about astrology. Like there's a few from Michelle Meehan here. Like one here, I always wanted to understand the houses. This is super informative. She says, I wish I could read a chart like a map. I guess anyone can learn how to. Yes, if they apply themselves. Yeah. I do teach horary astrology. I teach astrology. Just a little bit of shameless promotion. I've got a one-day course at the WEA on the 19th of March. Introduction to Traditional Astrology. This will be a one-day teaser, going through some of the concepts, some of the things you can do with it to see whether people want to follow up with it. I do teach it. And I do teach, and I'm running a horary one later in the year. Horary's just one branch. What else was here?
Well, I'll do it. Are you still looking for another one?
Yeah, I don't think I will do another one because I tell you what, I realise that it's not a good vehicle for me feeling like I can.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do it online. As I say, I can advertise it. I can say what it is, and when the timing's right and people ask the question, it's great. You know,
Carly, have you lost anything? Kris is your man.
No, don't ask her to lose anything because that's again too open-ended. She'd already lost quite clearly and was wanting to know where it was. That could be a question. Yeah.
Okay, baby Queen Girl, are you still there? So I've got no donated readings. Baby Queen Girl still there? I'll pull you three few cards.
Somebody asked, will I make a coffee in the next couple of minutes?
Well, if it's Staffy, you don't need to do a.
It was Staffy, yes.
Oh yeah. It's just like shooting fish in a barrel, don't he? The planets aligned or not, it's coffee time. Baby Queen Girl, you there? Still there? Okay. She's not. You're not there? I mean, you left us already. Just about to get a reading. Okay. Well, in that case, I reckon it's time for. Let's see.
Carolyn asked me, is Kris's site here somewhere? I don't actually have a website. I haven't needed one.
It's in the show notes.
Yeah, it's in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his to contact Kris.
And I got a Facebook page.
Yep.
But not it's just my own personal one, but that's how people can contact me too. Especially when I'm doing fairs, I put them up there and they can pre-book me on that. That's Kris.Svendsen9 at facebook.com.
Hey Natasha, hey Kathleen. Let's just get rid of that one. Okay, well, I guess I will do some. No, what I can do is we can do. What is it? We can grab a can of. That's it. Run out readings. Grab yourself a can of Intuitive Focus, and which does not exist. I've gone to the shops. No, I haven't gone looking for it in the shops. It doesn't exist. It's just a computer sprite on a program. Okay, people. If what I do at the end of the show is I pull like one card or sometimes two. And everyone puts who hasn't had a reading, I'll just pull them one card and just go on my intuition and give them like a power reading. So if you want to join me, if you want to pull out a couple of cards, if you do, because I don't know how you read cards.
Me?
Yeah.
Or,
Can you do a 2-card reading?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll swap and okay. While you're getting ready, just running that. Okay, Tash.
what I'll do, Brooke, is I'm going to use my Lenormand cards, and
Cool.
they're in combination up tarot, and I need probably at least to put out 4 or 5 of them to make a statement. Right, or 3 to 5 cards, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Oh, they won't want my bloody 2-card stinking reading then. That's it.
Sorry, not trying to.
No, that's all right. I'm just mucking around.
Yeah. Because these cards don't have much meaning by themselves, but they're read in combination. Whereas the tarot has much reading in every card. Yeah.
No, that was really good because I went when I came down to had the private reading with you at Crystal Wave.
Yeah.
And I really loved that. I'd never seen it before, and I was like, that was really cool because you read them each way.
Yeah,
right. And I was like, that was cool. Yeah, look out for contracts. Yeah, I lost my job. Bastards.
Yeah. So how do we sort out who we do?
Okay. Yep. Just go down the list from here. So I'll do Tash. You do
hold on, where's Tash?
Thomas. You want to do Tash?
Yeah, where's I'll agree, highlighted. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if she's listening, we're just seeing what's coming up. What is it? Okay.
Yeah, just see what's coming up.
Yeah, shuffle for Tash now. And we'll just see if any message comes out in the. Okay. There seems to be a fair bit of white noise, whether it's social media type white noise, people chatting, gossiping, talking, too many cooks spoiling the broth here, that are possibly undermining or niggling away an issue about whether it's an issue about a pregnancy or the idea of a pregnancy. If that's too radical, if pregnancy is not even on the likely at this point in time, the stork has come up first. The stork represents that whole new beginning that usually is embodied in the form of a birth. It doesn't have to be a pregnancy card, but it can be. It's next to the mice. The mice tend to undermine or tend to niggle. So it might be an indication that there's a lot of people with opinions about what that might be that somebody's wanting to start something new, or Tash needing to start something new, or even the idea of pregnancy, or even if that was a possibility at this point in time. There's too much, too many people with opinions, too many people talking about it, and possibly even slightly undermining the situation here. And there's news about a trip being cut short too. Something that's about somebody or something coming in from far away, or wanting to go far away. There's that situation is being cut off. There's news that somebody is either not coming from far away, or they are, or if you were wanting to go far away somewhere, you're getting news about it being cut off at this point in time. It's a clear cutting off of a journey as well. So I know they're two very strange subjects here, but putting them all together, I do feel there's an issue here to do with people's talk, whether or not you're listening to too many people or too many people are having an opinion about something here, and it may affect your plans in the coming period shortly. This might only be minor. This mightn't be a very big event. This might be just something in the next few weeks or month or two. Yeah.
Okay. Caroline. What have I got for you? Look, what I've got for you is look at the stars. It's time to manifest. Visualize what you want, plan, and set your goals. Okay. This is about you getting into manifest mode at the moment. This card's inverted. This is a star card. This is the universe saying, hey, come on. We need you to focus. We need you to be positive. We need you to put out that vibration. We need you to go visualize what you want to see. Okay. Okay. It feels like that you're sitting back going, oh, no, this is all sucks. This is never going to happen. Okay. Well, that's what you're going to attract. It's all about manifestation for you. It's about you getting into manifestation mode, being positive, not being in lack. Okay. Look up some YouTube videos on how to manifest, how to be positive, and do all that. Okay. It's time for you to do that at the moment. Okay. So we can get this card. So we can get the star card around for you. Okay. And find your inspiration, creativity, and growth. This is the fish. Okay. It's about you just going, you know what? I'm going to go out and claim some happiness. I'm going to get some stimulation at the moment. I'm going to find something to do. We need creative outlets because when we don't have creative outlets, we just get into the 3D mundane and we just go through the process and we just get into survival mode. And survival mode is boring. Okay. So just time to get excited, time to change that mindset, time to change that attitude, and the universe will meet you halfway and things will start to get better. I hope that's helped you. Okay, Nicole. Jim Tim is actually Nicole.
That's not the name. Is it a Nicole?
No, it's a Nicole. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to shuffle for Nicole now. So what do all the number ones mean, Brooke? There's number ones down there.
Oh, yeah, because I tell everyone if you haven't had a reading and you would like a reading, a run-out reading, which is a short one that I do at the end of the show, put a 1 in the comment section,
right.
And then I just go down the list.
Right.
And some people get like smart and put a 2 or stuff like that. It's like, it's like bad viewer. They're good.
Bloody Storks come out again, first card. So like you, so only different card after it. So different situation. This time I'm talking about either news of a pregnancy, either in written form. Somebody's delivering a message about a pregnancy. The difference between the two readings, though, the fact this Storks come out both times first card, surrounded by totally different cards. This time it's more just news. It's just coming in at this point in time. Same. No. Okay. I really shuffled them. Okay, what do we got here? Nicole, there seems to be something to do in the work situation that is needing that there's a clear cut or clear ending. That cut card's there again too. That's popped up again. To do with your reputation or to do with your standing in a work situation. It seems to be something you're going to need to address on the work front about ending something or about making sure that something does that the image of you at work is clearly demarcated for some reason. It's something's needing a clean cut. whether you do the cutting or whether something's cutting, but it's to do with your image, your your standing, how your reputation, maybe more so on a work front here. But there's quite a clear written message about a pregnancy here too. Unlike the other reading, which was more about something, people gossiping and talking about it, this is something in writing this time. Yeah. Okay.
Caroline Thomas. Oh, we got a jumper for you. Okay.
There's a Carolyn Thomas and a Caroline Thomas.
Yeah, there's Carolyn and a Caroline.
Uh-huh.
Okay, look. Caroline, I got the dolphin. Be playful, have fun, find your inner child. Okay, there's some things, and I think there's some things that you need to get out and do. Okay, I know you can be funny and have fun on the lives, but I feel like this is more so about getting out of the house and getting some joy back. It's like, as we like to help in the spiritual, is we still have to live in the 3D. Okay, this is about 3D fun for you at the moment. It's about getting out and finding some new experiences and finding some joyful things that you need to do. Just getting out and having some fun. Okay, and it's gonna bring in new people to connect with you too. Okay, new relationships, new things I find coming in. And don't stress out, because I've got the trust card. Trust it'll all work out. Know the sun will rise in the morning and the moon will set in the evening. Okay, so you just stop stressing, Caroline. Stop stressing. There's some stress that doesn't need to be there. Look to the universe. It's the universe's problem now. Don't give it any energy. Okay? Hope this helps you, Caroline.
Amanda. Okay, I'm going to shuffle for Amanda.
Yep.
These readings are usually just short-term, just what's coming up type situations, as opposed to answering the specific question. They might sometimes pick up trivia as well, as much as important things. Okay, we've got the fox, the book, and the house. What that combined means, there is possibly whether or not you're finding out about something about the family home, the family home you came from, whether there's something yet to be revealed. The book represents finding out something that's being kept, whether it was kept back from you intentionally or accidentally. It's to do with your house or home, and the fox is there, so it does mean that maybe somebody has been manipulating some information about your past here or about your roots. It might be minor. This might be just a trivial thing, but it might be like saying you find out something in your family history that that wasn't quite true. The fox can be a clever card. And there's a need to, and next to a secretive card like the book, does indicate that maybe you just need to be vigilant about something on the home front. When I say home front, I usually mean either the family home, sort of like your roots and things like that. It's one lot of cards. Yeah, snake, similar. There's an opportunity presenting itself for you to out something here. You've actually got the fox and the snake have come together, which are the two manipulative cards in the pack, but there seems to be an opportunity presenting itself to out that situation. So whether or not there's a manipulative woman around you, or a woman who's been scheming something here, or a very clever person who's been arranging things the way they want to, there seems to be an opportunity presenting itself in the coming period to out them, in a sense, or to make it more public, or to think this might be an opportunity, a positive thing in light of somebody's already in the past manipulative behavior. I have a feeling these cards are saying that something is being revealed to you shortly, and it'll come out in the open. you'll either make it come out in the open or it'll come out in the open. Okay.
Cool. Kathleen. Messages for Kathleen. Okay, Kathleen, I have got. Is it one card? Yeah. Okay, at the moment, Kathleen, it's time for you to plant some seeds. It's time to plant seeds for your growth. Sow the seeds that you wish to reward. So it's time to get proactive. Okay, we want to move forward. We want to see things happen in life. Okay, it's time to be laying the foundation at the moment for you. It's very important. And next to that, I've got this stag card. Observe, listen, pay attention. Step back, see the bigger picture. There is more than meets the eye. Okay, so this is about looking, not just looking on the surface level of things around you at the moment. Okay, it's about digging deeper and seeing things for what they are, true underlining and seeing things from a different perspective. Because if we're just seeing things on the surface, there's just like an iceberg. There's so much more than meets the eye. And so when we're making our decisions based upon what we see on the surface, we're making it's a very fickle judgment. Okay, so just watch out for that, Kathleen. Okay, Natasha.
Right.
Would you want me to do a couple?
I lost where we were up to.
Okay.
I'm scrolling and I can't find where it was.
Oh, we're still up. But some of them do it a few times in a row. So
yeah. So was it
Natasha?
Natasha. Okay. Shuffle away for Natasha. It's awful keep getting the same cards. Here we go again. Okay, this time we've got the garden, the house, and the book. So the book and the house are here. So we might have a gardening book. Sounds funny, but there might be something here. Sometimes the cards are literal, so there might be instructions or learning something or reading something about landscaping or gardening. Or applying something to a house, whether it's an existing house, your current home, or not. It does again show the outing of something here that's going to be revealed. Maybe it doesn't have those snake and fox around it like the other reading. So we're not looking at something quite as manipulative here. We're just looking at something being yet to be revealed, information about a house. Let me just go with the other cards. Oh God, fox again. Fox mountain. Okay. Needing to overcome a block with somebody who is I'd say it's a dispute or a fight coming with somebody who's been putting a wall up to you, somebody who's been manipulating again. I know we keep getting this theme coming up, but the fox is there again, and it's come out with the mountain. The mountain represents blocks in the way, and the whip represents dispute. So I think there's going to be some sort of something revealed here again that is going to help you overcome a block, but it might involve a fight or an argument, a heated discussion at least. Yeah. Okay. Keep getting the same. It doesn't matter how much I'm shuffling. The same cards are coming out for the last three readings. Half the cards are the same in the same position.
You're saying all my viewers have the same problems.
Yeah.
Oh weird. My God, you people, thicker than thieves. Okay, Michelle. Michelle has no problems. Oh, I found one. Sorry, Michelle. I'm just messing with you. I got the hope card. Have faith, it will happen. Okay, something you're waiting on. Okay, so it's all about the law of attraction. I say for you at the moment, Michelle. Okay, or letting go of something, and just realizing that. Okay, look, I've got to give it to the universe. I've got to let go. I've got to stop worrying about it. Okay, there's something you're worrying about. Okay, you've just got to just let it go, let it go, let it go. Don't worry about it. Okay, energy doesn't need to go there at the moment. You just got to just, hey, universe's hands. Come on, universe. Okay. And the next card I've got for you, Michelle, is spread your wings, take flight. There are no limitations. Okay. This is, you got to go for it, Michelle. No limitations. And we've got to believe that. Okay. We live every day like it's our last. Okay. The only limitations are the ones that we put on ourselves. The world tries to remind us of limitations, and we've got to remind ourselves that there are no limitations. Okay. And then we have to step out and we have to go nuts in a nice way. And don't hold yourself back. Got to believe, move forward, have faith. It will happen, and you'll be good. Okay, but just go for it, Michelle. Go for it. Claim it, speak it, visualize it, and go. Yeah, I'm going. Okay.
I don't know whether Rhea was the next person, but she's actually says you'll definitely get a different cards doing mine.
Have we done Kathleen Connor? We have, haven't we? Have we done Kathleen Connor? Yes, we've done Kathleen Connor. So, Roberta.
Yes. Okay. From Roberta. We've got for Roberta, there seems to be messages coming from far away, like whether it's a long distance letter or long distance information coming in, and it's putting an end to something. So again, we got the cut of the. I keep getting the scythe. It keeps coming up. It's a consistent message here, but it can mean different things to different people. It's to do with the news coming from far away, something coming from a distance. Is that sort of news is about cutting off something or ending something here. So it's a message about a clear-cut end coming in from far away here. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of hope in an ending for some reason here. The stars have come out in this one. And the coffin usually can mean closure, endings. The scythe and the coffin together in the same little spread does show that there's definitely an ending here, but there's hope on the other side of that ending. It's almost like something might be cut off, whether that's happy or whether it's an unhappy thing or not. An ending, whether it's neutral, but it's bringing in hope after it. It's almost like it's giving hope after it for some reason, but it does show that there is quite a clear ending to in the form of a message from far away. Yes. Okay.
Okay, Nicole. Look, okay, I've got the first card I've got for you is broom, clear out the clutter, make way, receive new blessings. Okay, when we're full or we were hanging on to a lot of stuff in our life, it's hard to rise or it's hard for new stuff to come in because we're full. But at the moment, whether it's your house or whether it's yourself, it can be both. Clear out the clutter. I've got the broom card. Clear out the clutter, make way to receive new blessings. Okay, there's a lot of old stuff that's taking up all the space, whether it's habits or clutter or just undealt with stuff. Okay, sometimes it can be just stuff that we just don't get around to doing that we need to do, and it just builds up clutter and it brings stress into our life, and then we go, oh well, I want to do this, but I haven't dealt with that first, or I can't because I haven't dealt with this first. So the clutter can just be a lot of stuff all around us that we need to process. We need to get a move on because it just acts as a weight around our shoulders. Okay, and we need to clear it out. You need to clear it out so you can get some new stuff come in, some new fresh stuff come in. Next, I've got the Dagger card. Courage and protection surround you. Break free from the negative cycles. Release unwanted attachments. So there's stuff, old ways of doing things, old thought forms, old habits. There's stuff that you need to release. Okay, there's stuff. We've only got so much RAM, so much space in our head to process stuff. Okay, and when we fill it up with negativity, then there's no room for the positive to come in. Okay, it can come in, but it's small. So it's about clearing ourselves out, clearing all the old habits and the old stuff that we don't want, that doesn't serve us. Okay, so we can bring in the good, we can bring in the new, we can train ourselves to do new, more things in more happier ways. But just a bit of release there, and then things will start to change. It'll be a real game changer. Okay, Nicole, I hope that helps you.
Brooke, I might quit it if you don't mind.
That's okay.
It's been 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. That's all right.
Pretty buggered.
Yeah. Okay. I will call it quits tonight then. Thanks for coming, people. I hope you've had a good night, and we will see. Thanks for coming on, Kris. If you want to get in contact with Kris, if you want some horary readings or you want some astrology, just contact Kris. Just email him, and he will send you all the information. And I think his Facebook is in the show notes too. If you want to contact him. Okay. So thanks again, Kris, for coming on. I hope fun. I hope it's good that people saw what horary was and understand what it is. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Google it. Yeah, what do you want me to tell you? That's it. I'm not here to pay. I'm not here to teach you. Okay, catch you later, people. Have a good night, and I'll see you Sunday with the girls on Sunday and Chilled Show. Catch you later. Bye.